Hello soulmates, welcome back to another sewing tutorial. So today I'm going to be using this fabric here to make a lovely dress for a 15-year-old. So I'll be combining the two designs that you're seeing on the thumbnail to create this design. So we're going to start with the bodice pattern. So here is my front. So I'll be using this part. I'll just take it one at a time. I'm going to work on this front side, then before we move over to the back side. Now here is my chest line, my chest point, and then under the chest and the waistline. So this is for a 15-year-old. All right. So the next thing I'm going to do is to mark out all my measurements. That is the shoulder. So I'm going to show you this part in case you want to make something of this age, so you know how to go about it. So the shoulder measurement is 14 inches. So I'm going to be marking that. So half of that is 7. So this is my 7 here, and this is 7 here. Now remember that we'll be adding a ½ inch sleeve joining allowance. So that is the point. So I'll just go down by 1 inch shoulder slope, which is here. Okay, and then on this point I will just mark 2 inches. I don't want the band to be much. I want it very small. You can decide to make it big if you want. So from that point, remember that this ½ inch is the shoulder sewing allowance. So from the actual shoulder measurement, I will just use 1.5. If you want, you can also use 1 inch. So I'm going to repeat the same on this part. This is 1.5 here, and then I'll connect to the shoulder slope. Okay, so I'll just connect it like so, and then that is that about this part. Now I'm going to measure what I have from this point to the center front. It is 5.5. So I'll just take it down here up to this shoulder line, and then I'll also take down the actual shoulder measurement, which is 7.5. This is what we'll be using to create the curve. So I'll just check what I have from here to here just to get the midpoint. We already know it is 7, that is 3.5 for the half midpoint. So I'll just go in by ½ inch, and then I'll mark the chest measurement so we can create the armhole curve. So the chest measurement is 38 divided by 4 is 9.5. Okay, so this is my 1 inch for side sewing allowance. So I'll just quickly connect the curve, and I'm going to repeat the same on this other side. Alright, here you can see I've connected the armhole curve on both sides. So the next thing to do is to decide how low you want the neck depth to be. So I want this to be very low because the manipulation part is going to cover up the chest area. So I'm going to use 6 inches as the neck depth. From the shoulder line, I'll be using 6 inches. Okay, and then I'll come over to this point and I'll just mark 4.5 or even 4. It all depends on what you want to achieve on this side. So I'll just go ahead and mark 4.5. So I'll just connect my line to end on this 4.5. Okay, and then I'll use my ruler to connect it to this part. Okay, now this is the shape of the neckline that I have here. Now if you want, you can also take it all the way down. It all depends on what you want to achieve at the end of the day. So I'm going to repeat the same on this other side. So I am working with 4.5. So I'm going to connect and then end it there, then take it to meet up to this part. Now the first layer is ready, which is this part that's going to have all these the main bodies. So the next thing to do is to add my darts. So for the dart, you're going to be using your chest measurement to add the dart. So all I need to do here now is to use the chest ball measurement. Mine is 7 inches, half of that is 3.5. I normally make it 4 so that by the time we take the dart, by the time we sew the dart, we end up having it exactly what is supposed to be. Now this is 4 inches. I'll come to the chest point and also mark the 4 inches. Okay, and then I'll connect it straight. So this part I'll just make it a simple dart. Okay, if you want, you can also make it the way you prefer. So now I'll come down from here. I'll come down by 0.75, and then I'm going to be marking my half inch on both sides for the dart leg. Come down by 0.75. Now if you're making this for your size, you're going to be coming down from here. You come down by 1 inch if you want to make this for a plus size. Okay, we're still on the front side, so I'll quickly finish this part so I'll show us how to draft the back pattern. Okay, now this is what I have for the first one. So if you're a beginner, you can just cut this out and then mark out another paper so we can now trace out the manipulation part. Now the first thing I'm going to do for the manipulation part is to mark 4 inches from the shoulder line. Okay, because I want that to cover up this part that is going to be open. Like I said before, you can also choose to extend this very take it down and then leave it to match up on this actual chest line. That is, if you don't want the chest, if you want the chest area to be very open, you can do that. But I'll be using this because it's for a little girl. I don't want the chest area to be too open. So I'll just come to this part and then I'm going to mark 4.5. This is going to be for the manipulation part. I'll just mark my 4.5 there. Remember I said that this should be separate. Then I'm going to connect it in a way that it will meet up or enter back to this armhole curve area. So either you use your free hand or you use this to take it in. Now you can see that this part is open. Like I said, if you don't want it to be open, you can take it all the way down. For instance, you can just take it down. Okay, you can see now that this is 6 inches. You can take it all the way down and then connect to this center point like this. Now I am showing you 2 ways you can do this, like this, and then curve this so that this will be inside. But if you don't mind, you can leave it the way it is. I'm just showing you the 2 different ways you can go about achieving this. So you can just connect, take it to meet up to this armhole curve. Now you can see that this part is covered. You can see that it is covered if you use this method. But if you don't want it to be too open, just go ahead with this. Okay, now if you go ahead with this one, this is the shape that you're going to have. This is the shape you're going to have. The only difference here is that these parts will be open, will be showing. That is just the only different thing. You can see 2 different things. Now let me just take this off so you see it very well. You can see that this part is covered while this is open. That is just the only different thing on this part. Then I will come over to this under the chest line. Okay, but before that, you can see that this part I want to separate it because I want this part to be open. So I'll just mark 1.5, 1.5. Okay, then after marking 1.5, I will just take it all the way to the under the chest line like this. Now this is not a beginner pattern drafting, but if you're a smart one, you can actually get this. Now I'm using this same one to create the second pattern. Now this is the shape that I have. By the time we cut out, I'm going to be cutting this off. This will go off as well. So I'm going to use another pen so you will understand the 2 different things that I have here. Right, like I was saying, now this is it, but I'm going to trace this out on another paper because we're going to, slash it just on this part to get the pleat. So I'm going to take this paper now and press it out on this. You can use your tracing wheel to press this out. But I'm going to be using just my needle to trace it out. That is from this under. So now this is it. We're going to use the slash and spread method and we're going to make it slanted. So you can just decide to make it 2 inches, 2 inches. That is where you'll be slashing through 2 inches. And then we're going to make it slanted just a little to create the plate. And this is the third one. Okay, so we'll just slash it through and place on another paper just to get the pleats that will not sit on this part. Okay, so we'll just spread it out on another one just to get the pleats. So now I'll go ahead and cut the initial one. Okay, so I'll just cut out okay. So I'll just cut out this. Now this is the shape. So by the time we place this one, it will end on this part, on this under the arm. This will go off, this part will go off because the big band is going to be here. So this is going off. Although we'll also introduce it back. Okay, now I'll also will introduce it. So this is going to sit like this. Okay, and this will sit like this by the time we are done with the plate. This is the shape that we will have. Okay, you can see that this has already covered up this space here. So I'm going to show us how to cut out the back pattern. Right, for the back pattern, I already have my bodice length and then the chest liner and the chest point. That is what that is needed. And I've already connected my armhole curve is the same way with the front, except for this part, the midpoint I use 1/4 inch. Alright, so remember that I use 1.5. Okay, so plus this is 1.5. Remember that 1/2 inch already here is my shoulder sewing allowance, and then I use 4.5. Okay, for this part I use 4.5. That is for the front side. So I'm going to maintain it. This is 4.5. So I'll just connect and end it there. And then I'm going to mark shoulder sleeve. Now this is where we are. On this point now, I'll just connect it, like you can make it a square or a round neck. Okay, so here it is 4.5. I'll come to this part and then I'm going to make it 5, just ½ inch difference, so that it will be a little like round. So I'll just quickly connect. All right, so now this is what I have on this point. So now you can decide how open you want this to be at the end of the day. So what I'm going to do is to come over to this midpoint. This midpoint here is where I'm going to be taking the second design. And then for that, the second design, it all depends on how open you want this part to be. So for me, I don't want it too open. So this is the chest point. So I'll just either connect it to meet up to this chest point like this, so that it will not be too open on that back side. All right, so this is now the yoke. This is the yoke. This is going to be open. So all I need to do is to add my dart as well. Remember, I am working with 4 inches dart, and I'm marking straight here. And then I'll get the dart leg, which is ½ inch on both sides. Now you can see that the back side, it is very easy to draft. Okay, so now that is my dart leg. Then I'll come over to this part, this point. Now I'll just minus 0.75 because of the age. If it's for smaller kids, I'll use ½ inch, but this is for a big girl, so ½ inch, sorry, 0.75 is perfect. So I'll quickly mark now the waist plus the sewing allowance, and then you're going to include this, so everything is going to be 10. So I'll just connect it to that point, just slant it to that point, and then my pattern is ready. I'm just marking out the rest of the measurement, and then the back is ready. Okay, so I'll just quickly cut, and then if you want to see the sewing part of this, kindly let me know in the comments. This is not a beginner class, like a beginner tutorial, like I said earlier, but if you're a smart one and if your mind is really into this, you can easily recreate it, no matter the level, no matter your level in sewing. All right, so I'll just quickly cut this out and place it on my fabric, cut and stitch it together.